Hello, you're listening to Hugo Talks. Now this video is called Glastonbury Mass Slave Obedience. So you had the Glastonbury Festival over the weekend. I did a video last year about the witchcraft history regarding Glastonbury. I'll stick that at the end of this video if you didn't see it. Now there's been some news stories, some social media posts going viral over the last couple of days showing photographs of the massive crowds at Glastonbury, especially the Elton John closing the festival. They're bragging, really. That's really what they are doing, bragging at how big the crowds are. Oh wow, look at the aerial shot. So many people, isn't it amazing? So many people going to worship false idols on a pyramid stage with an all-seeing eye at the top of it. Isn't that just amazing, yeah? Not forgetting that Elton John pushed the jab.
The more people in society that get vaccinated, the more chance there is of eradicating the national COVID pandemic. It's really important to know that the vaccines have all been through and met the necessary safety and quality standards.
Now you might say, oh, chill out, it's just a bit of fun. Oh look, it's only Dave Grohl, another false idol who also pushed the jab. It's just music. People just excited to see these famous people on stage. They're just cutting loose from their day-to-day jobs. It's just people getting together and having their energy harvested by the Luciferian establishment. A huge spectacle, yeah? A showcase for them to send a signal to God to say, hey God, look down here, look how much we have your people in the palm of our hand. We have your children under our control. Listen to them whooping and cheering over these puffed up celebrities. Look at the congregation we have gathered here. They ain't congregating like this for you, are they? They don't even remember who you are. And it's all in the spirit of the Antichrist. Look at all of these individual vessels in the crowd that refuse the Holy Spirit and in turn engage with the spirit of the enemy, worshipping at a pyramid with an all-seeing eye at the top. It's the same old thing. Pyramid, you get on the back of the dollar bill. The love of money, the love of the material world. No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and mammon. Mammon meaning money. You can't serve God and money. This crowd worship the beast system. The system most of them are enslaved into. Worshipping the money is all important, all that matters system. Just as the establishment putting this on, worship the money, worship the beast, and all of the crowd participating at the festival, you are therefore aligning yourselves and supporting the beast. And most don't even know it. And they are basically unwitting participants, because that's what it is. I mean, you can say, chill out, you're taking things too far, Hugo. You've lost the plot. But what else is it? That's what it is it not? It's a giant ritual. And this is coming from someone who is big into music, okay? But I've become aware of a fair few things over the last couple of years. So what is the difference between a music festival and a ritual? Well, there isn't one. It's basically the same thing. A ritual is formed out of customary practices performed on a specific occasion, while a festival is a public event in which members of a particular social religious group take part. It sounds the same to me. Glastonbury is a very new age, very secular event. You're taking part in a ritual. Many don't realize this, but it's a ceremony. Any successful music festival is a strong ritual with high levels of collective energy being expelled from the crowd, as it states here. Very much like religious ceremonies, music festivals foster collective sentiments, integrating and initiating attendees into a festival tribe. Successful festivals link the aesthetic, the quality of music, with the social, the crowd you're part of. In other words, successful music festivals are strong rituals with high levels of collective effervescence. The perceived energy resulting from the gathering of a large group. So a music festival, it says here, works like a religious ceremony or ritual, and these people in the crowd, unwittingly, these vessels are being initiated without realizing it. And the music is a very important part of the ritual. Again, it says here, music is often conceived as a medium for the transformation of boundaries between the sacred and the profane, and the natural and the supernatural, it says here. So people think it's just a music festival, but it's really a religious ceremony. And what is it a celebration of? A celebration of what religion exactly? Well, they make that part kind of obvious if you have eyes to see. There you have your pyramid, which is your central focus point. That is the stage. That is your temple. A pyramid with your all-seeing eye at the top. That's why you see so many of these false idol pop stars doing the peekaboo sign, etc., etc. The crowd, the initiates who have submitted themselves and consented, all of these people in the audience, they're in the pit. That's what this symbology is. All the people, all of the crowd are below the stage, looking up to the false gods. You know what they call the mosh pit? It's basically referencing the bottomless pit. All of these people are in hell. They are in the pit. And the pyramid stage is the temple, which those in the pit look up to and worship a series of false gods who appear from the hidden portal on the stage to a whooping, hysterical crowd. Do you ever wonder why these pop stars do the crucifix pose so much on stage? It's counterfeit mocking. And not only do all of these people, the audience, consent to the ritual and agree to it, they pay for it as well, and pay a lot to go to this festival. I think it was 300 or something pound. And then you have the extortionate prices for food and drink. I mean, how much are the beers? It says here, it was £7 for a bottle of San Miguel. Crazy prices. As it states in the Bible, right? Satan has dominion over the earth for a short time before he loses, and he wants to take as many with him as possible in the end times. The prince of power of the air, the spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience. And this is the power in politics, international organizations, Hollywood, entertainment, the music industry, the pharmaceutical companies, science, wherever the money is. And its job is to initiate the masses to stay on that wide road to destruction and away from the narrow road to salvation. So he has the world and he wants to influence the masses into corrupting themselves. Now, don't get me wrong, right? Now, music in of itself is not evil. I love music. It's a big part of my life. Music is a powerful energy. It's very, very powerful. That's why the enemy uses it. It's very influential. But what's important is what is actually behind the energy of the music. What is the driving force? Why is it made? What's its purpose? What's it directing people to do? What's it directing people? How is it directing people to feel? You'll also notice how bands and artists, they will go downhill very fast from the very first songs they release. They may be talented. Their first album might be really good. But their music gets worse as they go on because they themselves become tainted. Their talent is wasted by selling out, by the deals they sign, and what they are asked to do by the record industry, and what they represent with their imagery. Psalm 95:1 says, "O come, let us sing unto the Lord, let us make a joyful noise to the rock of our salvation." Okay, so there's nothing wrong with music, but all of this is not for the glory of God. This is all about the worship of these celebrities. This is all about them taking the glory for themselves, basking in the limelight, massaging their ego, making money for them to live opulent, spoilt lives. There's no messages about scripture here. It's completely the opposite. It's worshipping the other God, right? Music industry and festivals such as these are used to attack and initiate the public without them knowing it. That's why you see so much symbolism, and over a long period of time has been used to initiate children with the music videos and so forth of these pop stars. This is very similar in a way to the Roman Catholic followers who are told to worship or venerate Mary. Venerate, by the way, means to worship. Many of them will say, we don't worship Mary, we venerate her. It means the same thing. But they don't realize that Mary is actually Isis. The Vatican has an obelisk outside the Vatican representing Osiris' penis. They think they are worshipping the Virgin Mary. It's actually Isis, Egyptian pagan god. And here at Glastonbury, all of these people think they are just going to have a good time and get drunk or whatever and listen to some sounds, but they are involved in a large-scale ritual worshipping at a pyramid, right, with an all-seeing eye, and engaging in false idol worship, a celebration put on by the Luciferian elite to celebrate their control over you and to show and brag about it to God. Now, this, of course, as well, is a big money-making enterprise exploiting those that pay the crazy prices for their tickets by overcharging for drinks and food and whatever else. But it's more so, I believe, about the ritual. That's the primary reason for it, I believe. I think if nobody went to Glastonbury, if nobody bought any tickets, I believe they would make it free, because it's not about the money. It's all about the ritual. It's all about the message being sent out. It's all about getting you to engage and putting on a show to show that they have the masses under their control and worshipping their false idols. You think the fireworks are for the people watching? No, it's for them to celebrate and to show off to God how many they have worshipping them. How many they have brainwashed into believing the world is billions of years old because of something they made up called the Big Bang. They are celebrating the brainwashing of these people with science. What is science? Science is man's way of exploring the world to come up with a way to try and exist without God. And that's what the Luciferian establishment is all about. And that's also what they want the public to follow and believe. They want to believe that mantra, that you can be your own God, right? They are celebrating how they have fooled so many to believe in dinosaurs and to follow the New Age, pagan religions, meditation, how many they have hoodwinked into initiating themselves into this ritual. It's a cult, meaning it's hidden, so many don't see it, they don't understand it, etc., etc. And this is the celebration they are now bragging about, because they have got the public celebrating with them for the Antichrist spirit, ways of the forthcoming New World Order, as opposed to worshipping God. And this is the same occult secret society. The people behind this festival are the same that are behind and control the history books, the schools, the test books, the Hollywood, the music industry, the social media platforms, the pharmaceutical companies, every form of communication you can think of. The media, they make the news, they write the scripts, they create the stories to fit agendas. That's why I say they try to get you to follow their scripts as opposed to following scripture. That's what they want to keep you away from. Every avenue in this system is directing you to the wide road. The secret societies, such as the Freemasons, are secret because at the top they serve Lucifer. The ones at the bottom of the Freemasons don't even know this. They're just errand boys. It's just as the Lucis Trust serve Lucifer. Lucis Trust, who used to be called Lucifer Publishing, who are the spiritual foundation of the United Nations. It's secret and hidden because they don't want you to know who they serve. They didn't want you to know who they worship, because if they did, then maybe people wouldn't be going to festivals like this and worshipping false idols on a pyramid stage with an all-seeing eye as the capstone representing Lucifer, or Horus, the all-seeing eye. Horus is the son of Isis, and you're worshipping the New World Order, what they call the Age of Horus. The Age of Horus. The Age of Horus is from Thelema, right, which is part of the Aleister Crowley occult religion. and is the same thing as the age of Aquarius. That the Lucifer Trust, spiritual foundation of the United Nations, that's what they go on about. And that is an age where they want to do away with the laws of God and the 10 Commandments. That's what they are celebrating here. They're celebrating so many people supporting them and their agenda by worshipping their ceremony of false idols and giving them money, consenting to it all and bringing all of this into fruition. That's what they have fooled all of these people to pay to worship. And this is all part of convincing the masses to get to a critical mass to consciously or unconsciously agree with the demonic. Get people in agreement to consent with the demonic so that they end up welcoming the beast, worshipping the image of the beast as stated in Revelation. That will be when what seems good will be bad and what was right now seems wrong, everything inverted and flipped. And these festivals, along with the voting in the illusion of democracy and many other things, is about initiating the masses without their knowledge, getting you to consent and give your agreement over to them. When you vote, right, you're consenting to give them power over you and for you to serve them. And then with the music and the movies, you think it's entertainment. I've said this before, entertainment, the word, you break it apart. It means enter, you go in, you entertain. Tain is the tinfoil backing of a mirror, right? So you're entering the mirror, entertain. The mirror reflects what they want you to be back at you. So you entertain their mirror. And then entertainment. They take control of your mind and cement it. Ment as in mental, and cement, fixed. Fix your mind in place. Entertainment. These are rituals, they are spells, and the masses, as you can see here at Glastonbury, these ones, they're captured without knowing it. And are paying for the privilege as well. Captured because they wanted what they were dangling in front of them. Worshipping false idols on a pyramid temple. And I can say this to people and their eyes will glaze over. Or they will scoff and say, "You've lost it, mate. You're crazy." But the God of this world have blinded the minds of them which believe not. They can't see it because they have been indoctrinated over a long time. And as it states in the Revelation, many will not ever see through it, but some shall. By the way, before I finish, did you know Robert Plant, the singer from Led Zeppelin, he did a milk baptism of the new pyramid stage in the year 2000. A milk baptism. It says here, milk bathing or milk baptism is considered to be lower level occult magic in higher echelons of satanic ritual worship. So there you go. It says that here on the glastonburyretreat.co.uk website. Year 2000, Robert Plant baptized the new pyramid stage with worthy farm milk. I did see footage of this a while back. And it wasn't at the time of a festival. There was no one around apart from a few people watching, but I can't find that footage right now. Anyway, if you can find it, let me know. Anyway, that's all I've got to say on this subject. And here is my video from last year about the witchcraft history of Glastonbury. Hello, you're listening to Hugo Talks. Well, I'm sure you noticed Glastonbury. It was on over the weekend. Now, before I get into this, I did notice someone had a flag of Hugo Talks waving it in the crowd at Glastonbury. Can you believe it? As you can see here. No, it wasn't me, as many people have asked. I'm not at Glastonbury, but thanks to whoever did this, it's one way of spreading the word about. Now, Glastonbury, let's face it, it's a big corporate event. Now, I don't want to be a big party pooper. I like music. I'm a big music fan. But this is one big corporate event, pushing agendas big time and featuring bands and artists that are owned by the music industry. the peekaboo bands and artists. I mean, I don't know if they have an unsigned tent or something like that there. Maybe they do. I don't know. But there's nothing new about this. But of course, if you want no further proof than this is an establishment-controlled event, you need not look any further than who opened the Glastonbury Festival. It was none other than the Green Man himself, Zelensky. That dope. This guy would turn up to the opening of an envelope. In the last week, we've had hologram Obi-Wan Kenobi, Zelensky. He was at the Grammy Awards, remember? He's been at the UN. He's been at the EU, government buildings all across the world, on Zoom, here, there, left, right and centre. I mean, seriously. I mean, if you're going to Glastonbury, you'll be going there to escape the world and have fun. Not to be greeted by this guy yet again. I mean, it's not like people could have missed him over the last few months, what with all of the photo opportunities splashed across the media from his Hollywood friends and bands like U2. The last thing anyone at Glastonbury, I would imagine, would want to see as soon as the festival starts would be this guy. But from the footage I've seen, he got cheers. I don't understand it. Then later on, they also brought out that the Greta No Fun Berg, on the stage yesterday, I believe, to tell everybody, once again, how we are at the last chance saloon, as if they haven't heard this before 1,000 million times. It's a corporate event, and as such, that's why we see the same agendas being pushed as you would see in the fake stream media. Also, Glastonbury is now mostly a cashless world. They are encouraging the festival goers to make contactless payments. Again, pushing an agenda. I've talked about this 1,000 times. Once you go cashless, you are giving all your power away to the establishment. But also, as you can see here, if anything goes wrong with the system, you're completely screwed. Here we see Glastonbury Festival revellers fuming as bars turn cash only at busiest time of the night. Some stopped taking card payments during Sam Fender's Pyramid Stage performance. It says here revellers at Glastonbury Festival were horrified when some bars stopped taking card payments last night. And this happened because the system crashed. Oh dear, the Wi-Fi had gone down, it says, and all the alcohol serving outlets were cashless only. But because they lost Wi-Fi, they couldn't take orders. One person said it was chaos at some of the bars. People were getting to the front of the queues and placing orders only to be told that they weren't taking cards. A lot of the bars are nowhere near cash points, so we were faced with having to walk 15 minutes just to get cash out and buy a drink, by which time we were back in a 15-minute long queue. It continues, most punters only became aware of the changes when they reached the top of the queue and had to go away empty-handed. Almost all the ATMs on the Glastonbury site charge a fee for withdrawals. Another way, of course, of putting people off of using cash. And as you can see, if you stop using cash, it is at your peril. Have you never heard of putting all your eggs into one basket? It's a stupid thing to do. Then, of course, there was Peekaboo Club Billie Eilish, who headlined on the first night. And she turned up on the pyramid stage, on the pyramid stage, wearing a top which I believe showed David Bowie dressed in an Aleister Crowley type outfit. While on the back it said this, here, Lucifer, demonic, and witch of deceit. So nothing unusual there with Billie Eilish. But how much symbology do you want? Crowley, Lucifer, witch, deceit on a pyramid stage. I mean, it's all a ritual, a ceremony. I mean, of course, Glastonbury is a historically rich place, going back hundreds of years, King Arthur's bones, etc. But more interestingly, it's the occult history, the pagan and Neolithic sites, the numerous ley lines. And about 100 years ago, many occultists started to hang out at Glastonbury, one of them being a person called Dion Fortune, who was a British occultist, a ceremonial magician, a witch, and she claimed to be in touch with those ascended masters. You remember these beings from higher dimensions. You remember these are the same ascended masters that the Lucis Trust, originally called Lucifer Publishing, talk about all the time. The same Lucis Trust who are the spiritual foundation of the United Nations, who openly state they cast spells and invocations for the meetings at the World Economic Forum and the United Nations and at the G8 summits, etc., etc. They're Luciferians. These ascended masters are also the same ones you hear these New Age groups talk about a lot. Anyway, this Dion Fortune back in 1924 moved to Glastonbury and opened a guest house. And this is where some people say the Glastonbury Festival kind of started, where the likes of George Bernard Shaw and other Peekaboo Club members from back in the day set about forming a colony of artists who would share the running of a collective farm on the grounds. The first festival kicked off apparently with a performance of Boughton's The Immortal Hour, an opera set in a dark English wood where fairy folk, the lordly ones, meddle in the lives of unsuspecting mortals. It says here Dion Fortune, while at Glastonbury, also set up an occult group called the Society of the Inner Light at Glastonbury, which claimed to receive messages from a cosmic entity known as the Lord Michael. Now, Dion Fortune, she also belonged to the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. This is the same Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, which also included Aleister Crowley. He was also part of that group. So you know there's a lot of Peekaboo Club, satanic, Luciferian, occult practices and groups associated with Glastonbury and the festival going way, way back. Which leads me to this, the Burning Lotus. It says here on Sunday night at midnight, the last night of the Glastonbury Festival this year, they are going to burn a giant wooden lotus flower. Now this is the same kind of setup as the recent Burning Man Sanctuary. You remember I did a video about it back in May. It was an event funded by Artichoke. You remember where they were asking for people to bring photographs of loved ones that had passed away and place them in this big, huge wooden building, or bring keepsakes or mementos of that person and write messages to them, put them in the building and then burn it to the ground. And this again is a ritual, and in my opinion, an odd one. Why do you want to burn mementos of loved ones? Why not just keep them and cherish them? This is a very common practice in witchcraft. Here at Glastonbury we have something very similar. But instead of a temple, they have built a 40-foot lotus flower, made of wood. And they have been asking people to send messages, bring mementos, photographs, etc. to put in this 40-foot flower. Maybe in not as much a direct way as the other one, but it's similar. It's the same sort of thing. It's kind of interesting that these two events have occurred within a month of each other. Now, the lotus flower that they are burning is used a lot in witchcraft, in the occult, as we can see here on the Lucis Trust website. Numerous references to the lotus flower. Now, if you remember, I was talking just a minute ago about ceremonial magician Dion Fortune, who moved to Glastonbury and started a solar cult. And she was in the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn with Aleister Crowley, the same Aleister Crowley that was being represented by Billie Eilish on her t-shirt on the pyramid stage. Well, in the Hermetic Golden Dawn, they used a ceremonial staff, a wand. Here it is. This is from the Museum of Witchcraft and Magic. It's called the Golden Dawn Lotus Wand. It has a lotus flower carved at the top. It was used for ritual magic. As you can see, rainbow colours with black at the bottom of the staff. And if you read the details of this wand, it says it's used for invocation, for invoking spirits and banishing them. And what spells, it's got details of what spells and words to use whilst doing this. And it's got a lotus flower on the top. So I wonder, is this why the burning ritual at Glastonbury is being done in a giant wooden lotus flower. Okay? That's just me going through this very quickly. There's a lot more details I could have had, but I've only got so much time. It's strange. I get the feeling that people could be involving themselves in things they don't fully understand. And just like many other things in life, if you're unaware of certain information, of certain knowledge, you can be taken advantage of. It's strange. If I went back a few years, I wouldn't have raised an eyebrow to all of this. But now, after looking into so much of it and seeing how it's operating and how this is being done in very high places, I think very differently. Let us know what you think in the comments. As always, thanks for listening. Come and subscribe to the tribe at hugotalks.com, and I'll see you later.